So I want to introduce everybody over here. Hi, first of all, my name is Dan DiDio, co-publisher of DC Comics, and thank you for joining us here today. Okay, wherever you sit down, guys. Alphabetical, please. I would say age before beauty, but that would really lopside the stage. I'm not going to sit. No, I'm not a good sitter. We're going to pretend there's a podium. How about that? Okay? Does it feel like there's a podium here? I'm going to put my hands like this. The only thing I have to make sure is I'm wearing pants this time. So when there's a podium, I don't have to wear pants. So this works out pretty good. No? Okay, sorry. Anyway, so first of all, you got to forgive me. I've been here for the last couple of days. We had a Diamond Retailer Summit, and what was interesting. I guess you're here from that too, right?
Yes.
You got free. You came in free, right?
Yeah.
Good for you. Nice. Well, the good part about this is that we're here for the Diamond Retailer Summit, and we're getting a lot of good feedback from the stores about how Rebirth is working. So hopefully you've had a chance to sample some of the DC Rebirth material. Woo! Yeah! We have nothing to talk about. Absolutely nothing to talk about. But
Who said that?
Don't make me step out from behind this podium. But what's great about it is that the level of reaction, the excitement, is something that we're excited about. You know that we all love these characters and care so much about them, and the fact that everybody feels re-energized about the line is just a great thing, and that's one of the reasons why we have such a great assemblage of talent here working on our books, because it's not just about as Rebirth, as you would see, and I guarantee I'm going to fall off the stage, so make sure you have your cameras ready at some point. To the chair there. But the great thing about DC right now is we've got Rebirth going on right now. We have a lot of new books that are happening. We've had some fun with the Hanna-Barbera line. We have some new material coming out with Young Animal with Gerard Way. So we're trying to keep the line as diversified as possible, while at the same time we really focus on giving you the stories that you hope for with the characters that you love. So again, thanks for that. But let me introduce the fine folks on the panel next to me. In no particular order, and I'm going to say Tom last, obviously, because you were making fun of me. We'll start over here right now. Artist on, let's see now, you did Nightwing Rebirth. You got the variant covers on Nightwing?
No.
No?
I did Nightwing Rebirth, but I did the variant covers on GLA.
JLA?
And Birds of Prey regular.
Birds of Prey regular covers, and?
I'm doing Wonder Woman Earth 1 again.
Joan Wonder Woman Earth 1 again? Mr. Yanick Paquette.
Two more volumes.
And next for the man who basically we said could not come home again, but came home again to characters that he made such a great mark on, and now is back again doing such a wonderful job on Action Comics, Mr. Dan Jurgens. Next one up is the person, because I lost the bet, we had to invite him to a panel. That's right. This is also working on such fine.
You don't know what they are doing.
I'm surprised you're still working.
I don't hire them.
Writer on the Scooby Apocalypse, because no one could bring Scooby's world to such an end as a man as this one, but also now doing Rebirth with Blue Beetle, Mr. Keith Giffen. Person who is always over my shoulder, always whispering in my ear, anything I do, but also the writer on Dr. Fate, Mr. Paul Levitz. And now we're going to do this is the big one. This is a big moment for me. James and I, we haven't done panels together. I'm trying to think if we have done panels together.
I really don't think so.
I don't think so. So,
And this is the last one.
this is the whole idea. So much going on here. So much going on right now. I think you're enjoying Detective Comics right now.
Yes.
There you go, James Tynion. Every time we have a conversation about James, in the office, I think everybody pronounces your last name differently.
Yeah.
So therefore, I felt validated at this moment, and even if it's not pronounced Tynion, I appreciate you saying that, at least for this audience. And this way, from now on, we will officially say James's last name is Tynion. We're going to leave off the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay, we're leaving off the 4th right now. He's going to be the only one now. Let the others
All right.
find their own comics.
I'm gonna
James,
call my dad.
call it in.
Tell him how to pronounce his name.
All right.
Now, the next one up is the woman who decided to pull Batgirl out of Burnside. Bring her into the world, Hope Larson. I know how much you enjoy these, so I'm going to make sure I pick on you as much as humanly possible during the course of this. Okay? That only seems fair, right?
I got in at 1 a.m., so I'm not even going to know what's happening. So you can pick on me as much as you want.
She's got an excuse.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Geeky. Anyway, I'm sorry, you are? King Good.
King Good.
King
And I'm the 12th of my name.
Okay, there you go. Okay? Writer.
Allegedly.
Alleged.
Scott does most of the work. I put my name on it.
Yeah, no. I was going to say writer of a Mega Man.
Yes.
Now it's time for everybody come on. I know how much he loves that book. That's why we start with that book.
I love it.
Yeah, I knew you did.
It's a little book.
Writer of Mega Man, but also writing a little thing called Batman.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got a group here right now. What?
It's not over?
No, sorry. Okay, I'd like to take this through a little bit right now because it's funny because Rebirth, in some ways, is Paul Levitz's idea. I'm going to give Paul credit.
Is that why I'm here?
Yeah. So it's basically what he does. This is a true story. So what happened when I first started at DC Comics? When I first started DC Comics, I sat down with Paul and we're setting up and we're putting me in a position of executive editor. Paul promoted me into that position. And he said, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the toys out of the box. You're going to play with them. You're going to mess them up. You're going to break them. And as soon as you're done, you put them back in the box the way you found them. True story, right?
Sounds like me.
And so the concept was that, the idea is that these characters are evergreen. You know, they have such great life, they have such great energy. And one of the things that our job's supposed to do is constantly challenge them, change them, and do all incredible stories with them, mess up their worlds, and put them back together again. But when you do, every once in a while, you got to get them back to where they belong so people can reconnect with them. And that's what Rebirth's about. It's about reconnecting. It's about you looking at these characters and seeing the things that you love the best in them. And sometimes we tell stories that get you far away from that point. But ultimately, we get you back to at the core, and now we start to have fun again. And that's what these people are doing. They're having fun with these characters again. So I want to start actually with Dan Jurgens.
Oh, thanks.
Start with Dan. Here you are, you worked on Superman for a number of years, and now you're working on Superman again, and with Rebirth. You had so many stories told during your course of time. How is it to come back to a character, reset a character, and then ultimately find ways to change them in ways that you differ from what you've already done?
Well, I think part of it is that there are always elements that are really intrinsic to any character. And I think for Superman, some of those things are obvious. Lois Lane was obviously a part of that. But the addition of John Kent into the Superman world, I think, has changed things up quite a lot. And also making the world feel new to this particular Superman has also made all the stories feel a little bit newer. And we know now that there's a bit of a mysterious past to him, that he's been here ever since we saw, the New 52 launch with Justice League 1, and he's just been kind of working in the shadows. So that adds a lot of new elements that we can build on, and that's what's been fun for us.
Thank you. Okay, let me go down to the other end. Mr. Tom King.
What's up?
Okay. How much were you?
I have a microphone.
How much were you a Batman fan before taking on the character?
I'd never actually heard of him. I had to buy some back issues. Some research. And,
Actually, you're ahead of most writers by saying that.
I was like, wow, this guy's thrilling. He's a little messed up. I don't know. And Batman lives in the collective consciousness of the world. I don't know how much of a Batman fan. It's like do you like having hands? I don't know. Do you like having feet? Yeah, I enjoy my hands and feet. They help me. Batman's a part of me. It's always been a part of me, and for that reason, I wanted to warp it and make it just cool and strange.
You just say I don't know.
Keep the facade.
But then also you're coming off of something where, out of all the series that were leading into Rebirth, the Scott Snyder Greg Capullo run was probably...
It was terrible. Yeah, I know. I had to fix every part.
Something.
Oh, no.
How does it feel picking up from that? How much of what was existing beforehand did you lead from? How much are you looking to make your own?
I mean, that was the trick coming to Batman, because he didn't sort of need to be reborn. Scott and Greg had not broken him. They had elevated him and had the best run Batman in the history of the character. So I'm supposed to now say I was honored and it was a great opportunity. But mostly I was scared shitless, or scared a lot for the kids in the audience. And
You're going to say shitless in sign language.
I feel like I should find out swear words while I'm here. Scott's a friend of mine, and he was very supportive of the thing, and I pretended that it was totally normal. But then I wrote Batman 1 on spec. I wrote it before I had the job, just to see if I could do it. I wrote it in the middle of the night in like 4 hours, from like 12 to 4 in the morning. And I sent it in. My wife said, "Don't send it, they'll fire you." I was like, maybe that's the point that I'm doing this. And it went in without edits. That's the Batman 1 you read, because I somehow just the character came in my head that like he's the guy who's willing to die for us, and that's the focus of this. That he's the mortal one. He's the one who can sort of take our sins and make us better people.
Let's go.
Oh no, yeah, I get them confused, but no. I don't know who Jesus is, but if you send me the back issues, I will research.
James. Let's get the mic away from Tom. Can I go? Okay, you worked on Batman before Rebirth. You're working on it now. You're really doing some incredible things. It's a sneaky team book you're doing there in Detective Comics. How are you approaching anything different? And really, what are you really looking to do with the detective book that sets it apart from what goes on in the Batman books we've seen before?
Well, I mean, it was like Tom said, it's like the opportunity behind Rebirth and this whole new launch it was terrifying. It was a huge weight in a way that, you know, how do you do something that's going to stand out? How are you going to create something that lasts, especially in the mythology of Batman? And I felt in Detective there was also the added weight of going back to the original numbering, because so it's like it's not even just like, oh, this is a book that's only been around for 50 issues. This is, you know, there were quite a few issues of Detective Comics out there. And it was sort of, and it was realizing that some of my favorite runs on Detective were the runs that did something a little different. I think one of the best examples was the Greg Rucka Batwoman run on Detective. That was one of my absolute favorites. So in building this book, it was sort of deciding, okay, I don't just want this book to be the other Batman book, because I knew that there was going to, you know, Tom's going to be killing it on the main Batman book on top of Scott doing All-Star Batman. And it was just like, I knew that this had to be a slightly different flavor. And one thing that I love the entire Batman cast of characters. Like, I think they are my favorite characters in all of comics, and I've had a lot of fun playing with them over the last few years over the two big Eternal series. And it was sort of, this was the opportunity to kind of bring together everything I've learned from those Eternal books, and then try to create a book that I've wanted to exist my entire life, which is the Gotham team book, the Batman team book. Like that was something that just all of these characters, and it's not just Batman on a team or a team that consists primarily of characters that ally themselves with Batman. It's like, what if for once, Batman, rather than saying, We are going to, like when, these young people come forward and they start trying to fight crime rather than try to shut them down, it's like, no, let's make you better. How does this work? How do you create a system that works? And then pulling together a cast of my favorite characters in the entire medium, and then sending them out there and doing big crazy stories and big crazy adventures. This is the book I sent my editor Chris Conroy a crazy email full of okay, maybe in year 3 of writing this we could do this that pays off this moment, and it's just like Chris was just like, James, you have to finish writing this issue, then we can talk about that, because apparently it comes out twice a month. But honestly, this is I am having so much fun writing this book and these characters, and the real revelation for me has been writing Batwoman, Kate Kane, who is a character who I've loved reading in the past, and being able to elevate her to Batman's equal in this book and the co-lead of this title, and tying her mythology right into the heart of everything that is Gotham City, I think is, I want to, by the time I'm done on Detective Comics, I want to make sure any shot that's drawn by a fan or anything of the Bat family includes Batwoman. Batwoman is an integral part of the mythology as I see it, and that's what I want to express to you guys, and I'm thrilled that you guys are enjoying it.
Let's move over to Hope for a second. 2 questions for you. Okay, first of all, you are primarily in the independent market. How does it feel shifting from working in independence to a soul-crushing corporate entity?
I love it, honestly. It's been nothing but a delight. I love my editors, Mark Doyle and Rebecca Taylor. Everybody at DC has been great. And the fans are amazing. They really are.
Just her.
Yeah, they've been great to me. And this is honestly the kind of story that I've been wanting to write for a very long time, and there aren't a lot of opportunities to write an action-y, more commercial book in the book publishing space or in the indie comic space.
Now, Batgirl in particular has a different tone. How much are you aware of what's going on in the other Bat books, and how much do you really keep your own sensibilities for your own storytelling?
I'm trying to stay on top of what's going on in the other books, but as far as at least the story that I'm telling right now in this arc, it's sort of its own, it's like a bubble, It exists in its own space, and it's not really interacting with anything else that's going on. But I am excited to continue on and have more of a relationship with Gotham and the other characters that exist in that world.
Thank you. Paul, I'm going to switch to you because you're working on a different tone as well. You've been working on the Dr. Fate book for a while. And again, it's a different interpretation of the character and really something unique that was happening there. And you came in with Sonny Liu and you really wanted to build a book that felt different than anything else. What was the ideas behind that for you?
Well, it started in the conversation with you and Jim when I asked, what's next, guys? And you said, we'd like something different. We want something with a different art style. I can't draw it, so I couldn't solve that myself, but I suggested something. And we want to broaden out the diversity of the line. The whole concept of being a first-generation American, it's my story. My mom came over from Poland, not speaking a word of English as a kid. It's a very broad experience for many different groups that have a lot in common. For reasons that still baffle me, Brooklyn has become the center of the universe. When my daughter moved there, it was to, we worked so hard to get out of there. Why are you going back? It's not the same place, Dad. So setting something in Brooklyn was a great deal of fun, and doing it in real New York. A lot of what I've tried to do in Dr. Fate is to do things that I had never been able to do in all my years of working with DC. And whether that was touching on some of the religious issues, it's the first time I ever had a character who had a complex religious background, who sort of was appealing to God. It's the first time I've had the opportunity to get, maybe they're angels, maybe they're not, showing up in it, including the talking dog, who is modeled after my granddog. Yes, sir. You have many grandchildren, I have a granddaughter. I will catch up to you eventually, you may never catch up to me. So that's part of the fun. I mean, comics have changed so much in the years since I began writing them, that to have the opportunity to stretch my wings, do different kinds of material, explore things that weren't legitimate subject matter. I mean, when we've got a gentleman in the front row who's carrying his Dr. Fate helmet with him. That's you.
We also have available through DC Collectibles. It's online. Oh, we show it.
A freebie would be nice, Dan.
Yeah.
When I wrote that character in the 1970s, God knows when Gardner Fox created him in the 1940s, you couldn't do comics that really touched on any of life's real issues. You couldn't deal with subject matter like religion, you couldn't deal realistically with death, you couldn't deal with sexuality, you couldn't deal with sexual orientation. The ability to touch on some of those things and bring them into comics today while continuing to do heroic adventure and buildings blowing up and worlds changing is just great fun. And I'm trying to stretch myself and do more of those things.
I'm gonna make you put your publisher hat on for a second.
Okay.
Okay? Outside looking in, how does Rebirth look to you? Oh God. How's that? I set myself up, I know, but this is kind of fun.
You know, you were at a very challenging moment. My mother's calling. No, Mom, not now. She's dead a couple of years, but you know, she's still trying to bail me out of tough situations. You were in a challenging situation. You had a lot of people who were enjoying a lot of what was going on, but I think the combination of the move to the West Coast and some of the staff turnover that had gone on in that, and just having hit the point where the particular set of things you had just done to torture the characters, using the metaphor you were exploring, had played their string out. You needed to do some kind of reset. The retail environment was at a more challenged moment because we're really dependent in the comics business on both DC and Marvel being reasonably successful at the same time. It's great when everybody else in the business is working, but DC and Marvel are still the two meaningful engines on the jet. They bring people in every Wednesday excited to see comics. Some of you just want to read DC, some just want to read Marvel, lots want to sample from everything that's out there. But if those two companies aren't doing their job successfully, it's a challenging moment for the industry. So I think you had a real set of challenges there. Everything I'm hearing from the retail side of the business and seeing in the various columns that are written, looks like the numbers are working, looks like people are sampling them. You're pulling off the twice-a-week books on a number of titles, which astounds me, because those are really hard to get done, mostly on the art side. I mean, it's tough to write as a writer, but it's impossible to draw as an artist and to coordinate all the art pieces. So, so far it looks like it's working. I don't get to see the numbers no more, so I don't know. Are they still turning the lights on?
Yeah, they're still turning the lights on. We're doing good.
Then if they're turning the lights on and they haven't come down the hole with the body bag to say, could you fill this now? You're getting away with it, Chief. Enjoy it.
Okay. Mr. Paquette, let me go over to you for a second. Talking about artists, if we shifted over to the artists. You've done some work with Rebirth, you know, and now you're working on the Earth 1 series. When you're doing an Earth 1 book, which is, you know, a graphic novel, you know, 128, 130 pages, compared to a book that's working on 20 pages, how do you approach these things as you're working on it? Do you feel them different? Do you approach them differently? How do you lay out your stories and such?
Yeah, it's still pretty daring. I don't really know how to survive it still. I'll find my way though. Yeah, that first Wonder Woman took forever. because it was not a fixed deadline. It was with, Morrison's scripts are from the get-go kind of challenging. And it was just hard to get the rhythm, but I have my internal plan. I'm gonna say publicly that I want to have that book available for you guys next year eventually.
Okay.
So now
Now,
I've
you
said
gotta
it.
hold them to this, guys, okay?
I've said it. So now, it's just enormous amount of work, and it's daring, especially in the case of working with Grant, because it's all the beauty with Grant. It's always a work in progress. Everything can change at every moment. I do 10 pages. He waits for them to receive it, and then he creates the rest of the story, or maybe he has a master plan. I don't know. I really don't. And so it gives that situation that for a 20-pager comic, when you do it and you read it with everybody else, you're on the same page, but with this humongous mountain of work, after a while you get just drunk in the. I'm saying like it's like crossing the ocean in a pedal boat. It seems like nothing moves. You must be advancing somehow. So, but I'm glad I'm doing more cover though, because that will keep me more available and more on my toe all the time. It's the first time I really do that many cover every month, and I take it almost as a regular book.
And I think that's good for us also, because it keeps you out there in ways that...
And it comes with its set of challenges, especially for twice a month kind of thing. I'm doing the covers for GLA, and initially I said, oh, cool, but then it's 24, covers of group shot per year. and that became, I said, I'm going to exhaust every angle quite fast. So what we did is the first issue is a group shot, but then from issue 2 to 9 or 8, it's just one single character that creates a big, massive. We should do a poster. Massive collage. It's a 7-gate kind of extravaganza there. So at least I got almost half my year done having that too. But yeah, I'm doing. It keeps me alive too. Keep me in there, because that was a problem with the New 52. I did this one thing and then I disappeared, and I went into my little early days of working and doing things outside of the DCU, not knowing what the guys were doing, and now I'm part of the deal a little bit more.
I love that Swamp Thing stuff still. That cover everybody?
Can we go now?
No, I'm done. Okay.
Paul said everything I was going to say.
Keith, let's go to Blue Beetle first. I want to go to Blue Beetle first, okay? I mean, you were involved in the creation of that character originally, way back.
Yeah.
2006, we first started. When we first started, and the whole purpose was to upset the apple cart and create a brand new character. And now you're here bringing it back as the staple, as this is the interpretation. Is this a continuation of the style story? What have you changed? Do you see it differently? How does it feel coming back to a character that you created in a fashion in a way that you're basically restarting it?
The way I look at Blue Beetle is basically I took the first Blue Beetle story that I did. I took the first 6 issues. I said I can live with them. Nothing else happened. Nothing else happened. And when we brought in the other Blue Beetle, I just looked at it as, okay, he's not the Blue Beetle anymore. He's established as having a heart condition. So his Charlton adventures happen. And it's just a matter of taking the character and finding out what worked with him. It's not really brain surgery. It was Jaime and his friends, and if we're going to add Ted to the mix, we add it in a way that still enhances what Jaime does. It's not Ted's book, it's not Jaime's book. It's sort of a joining of the two characters. So I approach the character like I approach them always. What works, what doesn't work, and just roll with it. Hope they buy it.
Did it feel weird bringing the two together? Because the idea earlier on was that Jaime was replacing one character, and now this other one who he was created to replace is now part of the storytelling. Does that change the dynamics at all?
Yeah, it changes it a lot, because when we first did the Blue Beetle, when we did the Blue Beetle and he became Jaime, he was a character who was new. He had just got the powers, he was learning how to use the powers. Now that we have Ted in the mix, and whatever history we've decided to use of Ted, which like I said is basically his Charlton years, we have a character now who can act as kind of a mentor, but we've also flipped the characters. Jaime now is just wants to be Jaime again. He wants the scarab out in his back. He doesn't want to be Blue Beetle. But then he meets up with Ted, the billionaire industrialist, who decides to take him under his wing. And Ted can't be Blue Beetle anymore, but desperately wants to be. So we just flip the paradigm and see where it leads.
Okay, and let me go to your other project. Now, beforehand we were talking, and you're working on a book now that you said that if everything else was taken away, this is the one project
The
you like
one
to do.
project I want to stick.
And what book is that?
Scooby Apocalypse.
Okay, why is that? Why is that?
Scooby Apocalypse. Honestly?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay,